It sounds like trust, because in order to assume the other person is super rational, you need to know quite a bit actually about them. And, you need to, because if you're cunning, like you could also just like fake, yeah, I'm totally like super rational, and then you just win that game. So it's also about repeated games, right? If we're just playing once, then it's much more of a prisoner's dilemma than if I know I'll see you again, even after my prison term.
And so I think trust in the relationship to violence seems to me that trust is a mechanism that evolved after violence to reduce the need for violence, basically, in many cases. I think there's many other benefits of trust, but on a very basic level, that's probably one of the main functions of that. And which is kind of beautiful if you think about it, right? Hey, most likely in polycentric life form systems, you have a violence evolving, but then there's an incentive for trust to evolve, right? Which seems like an interesting, seems like kind of almost beautiful to me, like a beautiful self-regulating arc, if that's the case, which I frankly don't know.
It is. It seems correct to me. And then there's even something else in which we can rescue the benefits of violence and getting rid of its downsides. For instance, like the martial arts context, right? If we're like in a dojo training with one another, well, we're hitting each other, but we do it in a like context where we're not trying to hurt each other. We're like playing this game where we make each other stronger by challenging each other. And yeah, and so that's one example. Or even like, right, like BDSM or like other practices like that. Like these are only possible if there's a huge amount of trust that's kind of holding the container, and then we can get like the whatever positive functions there are in violence of like making each other stronger, or like certain release, or the kind of awakeness, alertness bit, and we can rescue all of those.
Yeah, it's interesting. Or like ritualize the ritualization of violence, right? You see in tribes, right, where it's just like mock fights they are doing, and it's not actual fights, right? I think in modern society we have sports, which you could argue is also like a ritualization of competition and oftentimes violence as well, right? This puts us into like parameters that work. We still can do those things. We get a lot of those benefits, right? By having something to strive for, having something to compete for in the end, which is, yeah, very interesting.